If I had to guess, I would say that most people don't feel like they are winning with money. And if that's you, have you ever asked yourself why? I think there are numerous reasons, but to begin, I think we all in some way aspire to be rich rather than wealthy. The difference being, rich is flashy. Rich spends money. Rich are the celebrities that you see buying the houses and the cars, the clothing, the trips, all of this exorbitant spending. That's what we think of as rich. Someone who has the income to go buy 3 of whatever they want. But wealth is different. Someone who is wealthy might not be as flashy. It's not as glittery. That's a bad word. Wealth is not as flamboyant as being rich. It's someone who has money instead of someone who spends money. And for the average individual, having money and spending money are in constant conflict. So today we're going to look at a few reasons why that is. Number 1, and I think this is the root of all of these problems. In our society, we do a terrible job of generating conversations around finances, and as a part of that, financial education. Now, I understand that some schools tried to implement personal finance courses, but the problem that most people run into is there are so many differing views on money. And as a result, I think as a society, we've kind of washed our hands of the mess that can be created by conflicting views. That's not a good thing. There should be room for discussion around financial ideas, and I think we can all agree on certain financial principles being very important to teach young people. I think we need to have healthier conversations and more transparent conversations around our finances. I think it would benefit us. But because we don't have good conversations surrounding money, all we see is what people spend. You probably don't know how your neighbor invests their money or how much money they make, but you do see every time they purchase a new vehicle. You don't know what they make, but you know how much their lifestyle costs. And as a result, we tend to think people who spend money, the rich, are doing much better than people who we don't see spending money. When in reality, the people that we don't see spending money might be the millionaire next door. So how do we combat this? Well, for one thing, if you are watching this video, you're digging into personal finance, and that's a great thing. Doing as much as you can to grow and learn about the area of personal finance is something that I think will benefit you in the long run. While we can disagree on some of the more controversial matters of personal finance, I think we can all agree on the tried and true principles, which is limited debt, a good income, and investing for the long term is a great way to build wealth, even if it's not quick or flashy. And that leads us to number 2. One reason that we don't do well with money is we are constantly trying to keep up with the Joneses. Now, I made a video all about this, and if you want to watch it, I'll link it in the description below. But we constantly compare ourselves. And because finances is such a taboo subject, we don't know what a good income for the average American looks like, but we have an idea in our head of what an average American spends. We don't know what most people make, but we base our assumptions on what we should have by what they have. This is why you need an inner scorecard that doesn't keep up with the people that live by you or friends or family. You need to know what is right for your finances, and the Joneses or the people across the street aren't the ones to tell you. While some people may take satisfaction or pride in the stuff that they have, you can take satisfaction and pride knowing that you are setting yourself up for the financial future that you want. And at the end of the day, I believe that the discipline it takes to build wealth will pay off in more areas than just your finances. So don't try to keep up with your friends or family, but make a plan for your life and get the satisfaction from sticking to that instead. Third, you may be someone who has an income problem. Now, when it comes to the average American, most of us make enough money to do well and win with finances. We just need better financial habits than we have. But there is a group of people that has a low enough income that makes it incredibly hard for them to build wealth. And what may be a bump in the road to some of us may catastrophically impact their finances. And one financial emergency leads to another, that leads to another, that leads to another, and thus the cycle continues. And if that's you, number one, I'm sorry. That is a hard place to be. But number two, I'm glad you're here, because doing as much as you can with even your limited resources is going to help build a good financial future. If you're someone with an extremely low income, the obvious answer is to increase your income. But that is much easier said than done. Personal circumstances may have limited you in many ways, but I do believe if you do everything that you can to manage your money as well as you can, and you are working hard to increase your income, there are always ways to break that cycle. The fourth reason that people aren't wealthy is you haven't had enough time. When you look at the wealth of someone like Warren Buffett, this is a man who started his investing journey before he was a teenager. At the time of this recording, he is 92, about to turn 93. Warren Buffett has been an incredibly successful investor. But the reason for this compounding effect isn't just the stocks he's chosen. It's the amount of time he's been investing. But if you're someone who's just starting out and you're eager to build wealth, that's a wonderful thing. But don't become discouraged when it doesn't happen tomorrow. I am convinced the best way to build wealth is slowly. I think there's a correlation between the amount of time it takes for you to become wealthy and the amount of time that people lose that wealth. If you are someone who has been building wealth for decades, I think that's wealth that will bless you and your family for decades to come. But people who get rich quick don't often retain their wealth, and I think the reason is they didn't build the financial habits and discipline over a period of time that taught them how to keep their wealth. It's not just what you earn, it's what you keep. And so if that's you and you're just starting this journey, whether you're in your 20s coming out of college or you're in your 50s trying to get a better handle on your finances, don't worry. As long as you are taking the steps and following the plan, given enough time, you'll build wealth. That brings me to the fifth reason people don't build wealth. They don't have a plan. You can have all of the financial education in the world, but if you don't have a plan, your human behavior will take over. Someone can memorize the map of an entire city, but if they don't choose a destination, they're going to go exactly where they mean to go. Nowhere. Driving around aimlessly, wandering around aimlessly. And it's the same thing with your finances. If you have a good financial education, but you aren't on a plan, you're going to wind up exactly where you're planning on going. Nowhere. It's not just what you know, it's what you do. Behavior is the majority of finance. And if you get the knowledge, but you don't use that knowledge to build a plan, you're not going to go anywhere you want to go with your finances. You need a plan, and you need to stick to it to build wealth. Now, I'm sure there are several other reasons why people aren't wealthy, and if you have one, why don't you comment down below what it is, and we'll talk about it. I look forward to the discussion. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy content like this, please subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and hit that bell notification so you are notified when we come out with a new video. We'll see you again next week.